I've actually made peace with the fact that I'm not at this stage in our daughter's life. I can clearly see that she needs her mother more. Like, I can clearly see her mother needs me more.
Yes.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conversation Capital. Today, I have the team in its entirety, totality. What's the word I'm looking for? That word. I have the full team, Bonga, Given, and myself. And I brought them on to chat all things to do with being new parents. And I love the contrast that we have here. So, Given had his baby girl a few months ago. Bonga also had her baby girl a few months ago. Yes. And I want to chat to, just being a new parent. What's the experience like? How's it going? And I love that we've got Daddy in the house to tell us his experience. And mom in the house. Yes. By the way, Bonga and Given are not partners, ne? Please let's not confuse this. But, just that contrast of what it is to, be a new mom versus what it is to be a new dad.
Yeah.
And what that can look like, the different inequality or equality balances. And obviously these are, tailored to your guys' specific experiences.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, just what it is, what that experience is. Okay.
Where are we starting?
I think it's important to start at the context. So I think something that has dictated my experience is that I don't live with my partner. Right. So I think it's important to mention that I don't live with my partner. I live at home with my family, my mother, my sister, my nephew, and then Given.
I live with my partner. Yes. Yeah.
I think, and also beyond not just living with your partner, you're in a long distance relationship with your partner. That is.
Well, he's from the same area, but works far.
Yes, works far away. So then he comes every
now and then.
Yes. Firstly, long distance is already difficult. Long distance co-parenting should be even
new first-time mother.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to say, my family is very present, right? My mother and my sister. But I've learned that it's very hectic because they work. So I'm the primary caregiver the bulk of the time. So it's been very overwhelming. And what I like about conversations these days is that people are very honest about the fact that it's not rosy. And indeed it's not rosy.
Yeah, you've definitely led us in to the duality of it.
Yes.
There are days when you love it so much.
Yes.
On WhatsApp and we see it. And then there are days where you're like, oh my gosh, Asante.
Yes. Yes. Guys, condomize.
Yeah,
Some days I'm the biggest advocate for condomizing, But I think I've always embraced the fact that you can love it and you can hate it at the same time. And this is the experience, not the baby per se. So I've loved it in terms of here's this human being I've brought onto earth with my partner, and they're a mixture of both of us, and it's been amazing. However, it's very challenging. The sleepless nights, you hear people talk about it, but it's something else to experience it. It's exhausting. So what I liked about us having this conversation with Given is that he's a present father. It's one thing to be a father, right? Because you can be a father, but not really be present, right? And the mother's the sole caregiver. But Given is present. The one time I remember early, he came with a poop story where he had poop all over his arm. There was a blowout. So I think it's very important that there is that conversation here in terms of the mother, a present father, especially in contrast to some of the conversations we'll have on the show with single mothers or women parenting on their own. It's very important to have people like Given. So Given, how has it been for you?
So I'm going to start with a bit of context, right, in terms of how my dad was with me, and where I remember once I was doing an interview with a friend, I suppose, or a church mate rather, and a good question that she asked me is, so I was explaining to her the situation at home that I actually don't live with my dad. My dad lives like a bit of a distance away, like maybe 30 to 45 minutes walk. So he's never lived at home since I was born. So she was asking me, so how did you become the man that you are, seeing as you have never had that example? I didn't really know how to answer her, quite honestly, because the reason I say that is because I've learned, or rather I'm learning just how important it is for men to actually have examples Like I'm really learning how important that is. And one of the places, I'm laughing because there's a duality to it. So one of the places I learned this was at church. Like I remember we had a man's evening thing, and one of the things that was said by one of the fathers who were sort of facilitating it was, and he said it in Zulu, ukuthi once wavulela umfazi wakho umnyango, so isigcila somnyango. So the day you start opening a door for a woman, you've become a slave to opening a door for a woman. So he was basically teaching on being consistent. And I say it's a duality because, I mean, I also, unfortunately, it's one of those churches where there were just scandals, specifically from the pastor, even more now that I've left. But I start off there because I feel like it's really been a huge influence to how I've discovered my manhood. And I think being a father in itself becomes a lot more scarier because it's quite literally something you've never witnessed at home. Right? Because it's one thing being a father from like a distance or being a father, but being present, not knowing what exactly my role is in this situation. What do I do when you have the child on the boob? But anyways, so back to my personal experience. First of all, when my partner told me she was pregnant, she was nervous. She wanted to cry. I was very nervous, but I was also very happy. I was very excited. I was very, very excited, and that annoyed her. It annoyed the crap out of her. So I was very much looking forward to it. And when we had our daughter came home, I felt the sleepless nights.
Sure.
Let me actually say it this way. The first few nights, I didn't feel as much. There was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of concern because we had a preemie. So by the time she came home, she was very tiny. So we were like, we're going to make this work no matter what, right? And then at the time, fortunately, it was during holiday time. So none of us needed to worry about going to work immediately, which really, really made a difference. And then what we did was, and this was, we discussed it, but we didn't really need to talk about it that much. I sort of did the calculation in my head that because I'm going to go to work quicker than you. In fact, I was still going to work because I had a very short period of time. Then I went to work. Then the holidays started. So we had decided that she would do most of the day shift. I would help her here and there. But when it comes to night shift, I would be up. So she'd prepare bottles during the day for me to feed our daughter during the night. So we literally had that routine, which I think is the different dynamic with Obonga's story. Because we lived together, figuring out that routine actually, it's funny because we've never really sat down and said, okay, you'll do the night shift. And then it didn't really work out that way. It was a very effortless conversation or agreement rather. So she would be up from, let's say, after 5 all the way up until I think 6 p.m. You have to count this in 3 hours, in 3-hour intervals, right? Because
they eat every 3 hours.
Yeah, they eat every 3 hours. So when at 6 p.m., I know that my shift is starting and I'm taking 3 hours from then is where my shift actually starts. So I would literally have to go to bed, come up, feed, nappy change, and then put her back to sleep. Go back to bed, wake up 3 hours later, do that. There are nights where I remember I'd do that till the sun comes up. That was literally my routine.
So the contrast with me and how sometimes I think a new baby in any relationship may cause a bit of strain, but it caused a lot of strain personally for my relationship because I feel like I'm doing it alone. So it's like I remember a lot of women speak about the resentment they have for their partner because I remember my partner will post a smoothie and I'm like, you get to have a smoothie.
Michelle Obama said this exact same thing.
I'm like, he cycles. And in my head, I'm like, but what will he do? He's in Mpumalanga. He can't be with the baby at that point. It's not like he's here and he's still not doing those things.
Yes.
And when he is around, he does so much, so you feel the presence. But when he's away, you feel a level of resentment, and it's what a lot of women go through when even when you're living with your partner. It's not every guy that's a given.
Yes.
So someone will still maintain having their normal life despite what just happened.
I must be honest, given if I'm going to give you your flowers while you're still alive, just my experience of, chatting to Given, being the only man that's been so... I remember one time he even said, I'm better changing diapers than Ness. She gets nervous. No, I got this.
Yes.
And Given is that person who is like, for him, it's parenting 1-to-1.
Yes.
It's not like she's the mom and I'm the secondary caregiver.
Yes.
He sees himself as primary caregiver,
yes.
which is something that, I've never experienced, actually. I've never seen men take so much pride in being a dad that can change diapers and do the feeding. And it's so much excitement, Kim, if I'm really going to give you that one. Every time we chat, I'm just like, wow, this is a really cool perspective, And I think, though, we're becoming more progressive as people. We are seeing it more where men are more invested and more, and like just the context of it, like you're saying, your partner doesn't live around. And the opposite to that would be, now he must quit his job. You don't want that either,
Exactly.
girl. You don't want what to
Exactly.
You want somebody that is able to provide and do all
for
these
you
things.
guys.
Imagine if Given had said, no, let me take day shift, let me quit my job. What conversation are we
Exactly.
having right now?
Exactly.
That's a
Yeah.
whole other and so like just managing that balance where you need this person to be an alpha in the sense that you need the financial income that will come in from them just being a dad, but then also like the physical weight of this thing. And this is the part where we spoke in one of the episodes that if we're really serious about this gender equality thing, the paternity leave needs to be 4 months.
Yes.
You know?
And I mean, it even robs the man of the full experience.
Yes.
Because you can see my partner, he wishes he was around more. Or when I post videos or send him videos, he's like, oh my gosh, he knows you more than me. Stuff like that, So it robs him of his experience as well. So it's also important for even men who want to be present but can't be present because of those conditions. I want to capitalism.
Something I wanted to comment on is this is actually quite an interesting dynamic, because I'm wondering how many women find themselves in this sort of like crossroad. Because here's the thing, so the way we structure things, so I'm saying this for the benefit of anyone listening or watching, understanding and having a full picture, and this not just being, oh yeah, if my husband were doing this and this and this, I wouldn't complain. I really, really want to give sort of like light to the full picture. So here's the thing. When we got home with our baby, I decided, in fact, I even went into credit and bought a dishwasher, because I decided didn't have a nanny yet or someone doing that for us. I decided I'd wash the dishes and she wouldn't worry about a dish. In fact, when we got home, I decided I would be the one to take the clothes, put them in the washing machine and go hang them. And I say that to say this. It didn't take away from her feeling like she's doing a lot of things by herself. It didn't take that away. And it's a very interesting dynamic, because I see it even now. I mean, to this day, she does not know a dish. Like, she literally just washes every now and then, whatever she wants to. You understand?
Even you're saying something.
And the thing is, before we didn't, so I'd literally do my best to be that person who does those things. And not only that, but I'm also I'm not very handy in the sense that I'm not crafty, but I love being the person, if this breaks at home, I go and fix it. So I'm also doing that, right? And it didn't take away, let me not say, it probably did alleviate it, right? Definitely did alleviate it. But I find it so fascinating and interesting to see that she still has those moments where she feels like,
I'm doing so much.
And to be fair, she definitely does. So even when we were doing the hours thing, if I could split it into hours, I was doing, let's say 1, 2, 3 shifts. So every 3 hours. And she would do between 4 to 5.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But then on top of understanding that context, you have to see the full picture. Because I was the one also doing the washing, washing the dishes, making sure that as the house is as clean as possible, right? So because of that as well, I felt Guti, in the afternoon you can focus on the child, right? And then I'll focus on everything else, and I also had work. But this dynamic though, and I'm very interested in finding out, hopefully we'll see it in the comment section, how many women do feel that way when a man is around, right? And I know men are guilty. In fact, I feel guilty of it myself. There is a feeling within me, I'll admit. There is this feeling when I'm coming back from work. Let me not even talk about coming back from work. There is this feeling, and I don't know if it's being socialized into it, or it's, I don't know. There is this disposition here that says inside of you as a man, like, you should be worrying about the kid more. More than I, not to say you should be doing more.
Okay.
More than me. Yeah, exactly. So there is that thing in me which I will not deny. And I also won't deny that generally men overdo that.
Yes.
And say, no, you do.
Yeah.
You can handle this. Me, I need to go.
Where the assumption is even that you should know how to change the diaper better than me.
Exactly.
And even me, I think I'd be slightly, I don't have baby, but I think I would want to know how to change the diaper better than my partner. I'd want to be the one that when she cries, she looks at me and I know how to fix it. You know, and I don't know whether it's socialized or it's a natural thing. Is that a natural inclination that women have? Or because at the end of the day, in as much as I would love a very supportive partner who's very present, but I can't take away from the fact that I still would want to be the primary caregiver.
Yeah.
I know I would want to be.
I also say I think I still want, because for me it's not the absence of my partner per se, it's the absence of help. You know, I feel overwhelmed, so I'm like, if I lived in a bigger house or so forth, I'd have a 24-hour nanny or something. I just feel like I need that few hours to myself a day.
Sure.
You know, with more, I don't mind being the primary caregiver, but then you don't have these few hours to yourself in the day, and then you see your partner living their life, and then, you know, you have this laundry, you have this, and the other day I was like, I'm getting someone to do her laundry because I wanted to make myself feel lighter. So for me, it's just the absence of the extra help.
Sure.
And getting the hours to myself per se. So if I had that and my partner was still far away, I don't think I'd
feel it as much.
Yeah.
Yes. To be honest, I don't think there'll ever be a time where you don't feel that. It is a difficult thing that you're going through, Bonga. There's no way, even with a helper. It's
yes, totally.
Long distance without a baby.
I think it would be difficult, but not as much. Because I'd have my hours, I'd have my sleep. Sometimes you're made grumpy by the fact that you don't sleep enough. You know? So like today we had breakfast and I was so much lighter. Usually I'm just so tense and I'm just, you know.
But Shem, you are carrying it so well, because I don't see that much of that element on your stories. I see more the joyful element of it.
Of course, those are the things we post. When I had that poop explosion, I didn't share that. Although it was a fun moment, though. I literally had a wonderful surprise. But here's the thing, I'm curious about how Ubonga feels about how you feel about this, right? I don't know if this is it's a thing of it's dictated by how we're brought up. But you know how there are times when, let's say for example, you want your partner to fix you up a meal. And you can get irritated at the fact that he ordered Uber Eats instead of getting up and making it for you. Yeah, there are people like, I don't know if you have that.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's the reason I'm asking that, right? Uguti, I become very disappointed at men when they look, I understand not wanting to be, let me not say, because we're all exhausted by the idea of taking care of a child or even taking care of the house, like just the chores within the home. I get equally annoyed, well, even more annoyed by someone who doesn't even try and say, okay, fine, since I don't like cleaning, I'd rather contribute this much and then have a nanny come in on that day. So I'm interested if you'd feel like that.
Yeah, and luckily we've had that conversation, and it's just that now it's culture that's stopping us from getting one or letting her. But we've had that conversation. She'll have a nanny, and I'm even doing it way sooner than I am going to work because we want me to feel lighter, you know. So yeah, definitely.
Sure, and I think being being as vocal as you are is something that's just helping you, because there are women that are dying because that's the expectation of what women are supposed to be. There are women that are dying with the whole, I can't complain about this thing.
Exactly, and it's terrible because for me, life is so nuanced. I can be like, this is very hard, this is very difficult,
and I'm still experiencing the most beautiful
experience
of my life.
Exactly. And it's important to have those feelings so that you go through them, you let go of them. You know, I can be like, sometimes I tell her, I'm like, mommy is feeling very down today. She probably doesn't understand, but I find that she sleeps longer on those days where I'm like, I'm feeling very down or I'm feeling tired, can we sleep? And I find that she sleeps longer. You know, maybe it's all in my head, but kids are very sensitive as well. So it could be
I don't think
that she understands.
I think she does.
You know, so I find that it's and you know, there's this other conversation as well about love at first sight. People think personally for me it wasn't that. People think you have a baby and you're absolutely in love, and I'm like, you know what, it develops with time, because I don't know you. I had you, I wanted to protect you, but for me in the beginning it's about survival. Are you changed? Are you fed? Are you warm? It's more on that. And then as you develop a personality, as you become a person, I fall in love with you and I fall those little things.
Don't you think though then that's more the liking them, but you love them instinctively, the fact that you want to protect them.
Thank you. I love the fact that you made that distinction.
You love them instinctively.
Huge difference
but
between
you start to like them
and loving them.
Yes.
Because love acts in the absence of like.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, love acts.
Love.
I think my partner is like that. Besides my irritants, besides what, he will love me and he'll just be patient with my anger and all of that. So yeah.
Oh, that's soft.
Hey, but you need to be a bigger person given, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, you definitely
Sometimes
do.
in dealing with myself, I'd be like, nah, never. You know, when you look at yourself and you're like, I never deal with myself.
I know exactly what you mean.
It needs you to be the bigger person. It needs you to, guys. It's straining.
Even when Given was talking about the inequalities of like he's doing dishes and the fact that I think you're trying to tally the numbers, it will never equal. It will never be equal.
Definitely.
There'll be a time where you need to do the soccer runs on Saturday and you need to, whatever it is, it will never be equal. And that's the thing. Sometimes we try to trivialize these things down to the second and the moment and the hour. You can only try to even it out, but it will never be equal. I've
actually made peace with the fact that I'm not at this point, at this stage in our daughter's life, I can clearly see that she needs her mother more. Like I can clearly see her mother needs me more.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? And I'm happy to show up in that regard. Like if she's had the day, like I literally try to make it a point that as difficult as it is.
This podcast today. This is a nice episode.
Right? And as difficult and as challenging as it is, like coming home and being intentional about making that extra hour to be with her, just making it about her. How are you doing? Let's put her down and have a glass of wine. Let's have coffee. Like it literally, I try to make sure that I do that because I don't, I think when we're pursuing equality, we should always be careful of what equality looks like, right? Because sometimes we'll end up trying to build a world that solve a problem that doesn't need any solving. Because I feel like if men are able to understand that their duty during that time, first of all, is definitely to be hands-on, definitely to be present and hands-on, but understand that if we're both under stress,
yes,
and we're both unable to take care of each other, then our relationship will definitely suffer. So I've come to see how much she needs someone to say, how are you? Do you need your feet rubbed? Do you need to go out for a walk? Like someone to even say, no, don't do that, just leave it. Like she just wants to know that someone cares enough to stop me from working more. You understand what I mean? Yeah, I feel like it does strike and give, I don't want to call it balance because balance is such a mathematical term, right? It's an accounting
and the numbers
term.
Don't really add up.
They never do. They never do.
But that being said, guys, let's just talk about the dad experience in the sense that, so you're talking about the baby needs the mom. So immediately when you said the mom needs you.
Yes.
Where do you turn to? How does that work? Because you're also going through a new
Changes.
experience changes. There's a bit of pressure. You're talking about how you went into debt getting this washing. Those are the
Dishwasher,
different. Those
yes,
are the
yes.
strains that you're taking, And I never want to look away from the man's struggle either. That's really what I've learned on TCC. Like, don't look away from the man's struggle. Take a second and look at your man and say, what's he going through in this experience, and how do I meet his needs? And so, speaking to new moms, even Bonga, who's looking at like, you busy cycling and getting smoothies, how do you look at her and say, have you thought of this element that your man is going through? And how what's your advice to the new mom to say, look at this element and this is how you can reach out to your person?
What I think is a huge problem in that regard, is just how society views giving birth as a mom's issue. I think that's where the reason I say that is this. There's a guy who because we were going through a lot, especially in the early stages, right? Like preemies, guys, like people who have preemies, like just give them a moment, because just seeing your baby in those tubes and that being like for more than a day, actually, but more than a month, it really does a number on you. One thing that a guy came to me and said was, and he's a pastor, so he was like, Given, whenever you need to talk, we can do coffee. That did a lot for me. Like that really, really did a lot for me. So the thing I'm trying to say is this. The workload doesn't always need to balance itself within the home. Right? It doesn't. There are times I already know that there are things that
Love what you're saying.
Nessa needs to talk about, things she needs to share, that
won't
probably
be
Bonga
you.
would be a better shoulder
You're not the one
than I would be.
Yes.
You understand what
we
I
want
mean?
to be people's everything.
Exactly.
We want this unit to be everything here. It must be perfect. Everything.
Exactly. And not everything can exist within this home that we're trying to build. So for me as a man, I feel like I've found my friends calling me and saying, not how's your family, but how are you doing? Right? I've had a number of dudes being that considerate. Like literally being very close to tears, having this conversation with them. So that's the one thing which I feel needs to be understood by society in general. That it's not just the woman going through it. And this I say with the understanding that
Women are going through a lot.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it doesn't negate
And
what
it
you're going
doesn't
through
take
as
away
well.
anything from our experience to say men are equally going through a lot. Takes away nothing.
Bonga, you said something before we started the show, and we were just talking about your experience of being a mom, and you explained how your person came back and he's been traveling and he's tired, and then you said it doesn't take away the fact that he's tired. The fact that I'm also tired doesn't take away that he's tired.
Yes.
And when you said it, I'm like,
Because you feel somebody
but
like
actually you're both tired.
yes.
That's all it is.
Our reasons for being tired may be different, but we are both
But we
tired.
are both tired. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, I'm tired because of the baby, but you're tired because you come from work and you've driven 3-4
And
hours
you know
to
what?
get here.
And I can see it eats at him as well. He wishes he was here for his daughter as much as I did. He wishes we could switch roles. So it's equally as hard for him as it is for me as well. And I sometimes it's nice to have. I take a lot of resources from people, right? And it's important that you are okay with the fact that it's difficult. Like older women are like, it's your baby. Oh, tonight we did this or that. Like when I tell my mother, I can't wait till she goes to her nanny. Or when it's like, hi bobonga ki wana umnyan. And I'm like, but it's okay to say I need a break. I need some time off for myself. But I need some time off for myself, but I also I'm happy to be a parent, Those two things can exist. And just like one of our previous episodes, if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's with Luyanda. We're talking about the importance of prioritizing yourself as a mother and how you're able to be an effective mother.
Yes.
One of my guy friends lost a baby. And then I was like to him, it's very important that you take care of yourself, because he was like, no, my focus is on my partner right now. But I'm like, if you're not focused on yourself, you're not able to be a better partner that they need at that time. So you need to make sure that you're also finding some ways to cope,
Ooh, that brings me to something that I'm very proud of. Right? I'm very proud of these. Both when our daughter was younger, and she was going through the sleep, literally waking up to go to sleep pattern, which is a very beautiful time.
Yes.
Like if you're a lazy dad, at least be there
during that time.
during that time, because literally in the beginning it's sleep. Like they wake up to be changed, eat, and go back to sleep. Which
Basically
is
fourth
why,
trimester.
yeah, this is actually why the photo shoots, the newborn photo shoots are done during that time, because all they do is sleep. They don't fast, they don't move around, nothing of the sorts. Then the older they get, it gets a bit more complicated,
Yes.
because then they start to move around, they get annoyed, they get irritated, they stay awake for much longer. But the
Yeah.
point I'm getting to is this: one thing that I'm very proud of are the moments and weekends that I've actually told my partner that, you know what, give her to me, go be with your girls. I'll sit and I'll wait for you. So whether she's gone 3 hours, 5 hours, I'm not going to say I didn't get impatient. I absolutely did.
But you
I
survived.
absolutely did. Absolutely did. In other times, I was totally just worn out from the week or whatever the case may be. But I survived. And the moment she steps into that door, me, I literally go.
Nah.
Yeah. No, I was very proud of those. She didn't do them every weekend, but she just have moments where I'd hear her say, you know, I really want to be with my girls. I just want to go out for a high tea. And I'm like, plan a day, call them, and then we'll plan it for this day, and I'll prepare myself that for this day, I'm on duty the whole day. So this means I would have done the night shift
And
and the day shift.
those days are so important. I feel so refreshed when I'm able to step out. That's why I use it to the max. Today, before recording, I made sure I go out for breakfast because she has a full nanny.
Yes.
Woman,
You called me at 7 saying, I'm leaving the house, get up, but we don't start shooting till 12. And you're like, no, I'm leaving the house right now.
those days are so critical, and they can. The amazing thing for me is how long they last you. Like now that I'm out today, I'm good for the next 2 weeks. Like they're so refreshing to be
Sure.
out, and so it's a very important
Yeah.
I
part
heard
of that
something
trip.
very interesting recently off some other podcast that I was like, oh, I wish I got the name of that podcast. A really, really good podcast. But this guy spoke about how he was speaking of longevity and the different traits that they've contributed to longevity, like why people live longer. The first one is loneliness. So if you're somebody who like lives a very solo lifestyle, you're likely to die earlier. Which
Japan experiences that a lot.
So that and it's made me more conscious to check on my friends that I know. Like I live alone, but I'm never a lonely person. I'm always around
Yes.
people, you know. And so I've been more conscious of my friends that I know like to isolate and forcing them to go out and meet with me for lunch and stuff. Since hearing that, then the second thing that he said caregivers seldom die, because when you're taking care of something, some biological response in your body
Wow.
says I need to stay alive for this being.
Soldiers experience that a lot. Like
Guys,
it's
that
very
thing
interesting
blew my-
that
it made
you say
me
that.
more broody.
Did you
Maybe I
know?
should have a baby if I want to live longer.
Did you know that there have been soldiers who like literally get shot at, and they will run into the field and bring their dead soldiers, bring people to safety, literally while they're being shot at. Once everyone is at safety, they drop dead.
Shoo. You know, when you speak about
Literally.
loneliness, my mother's like, maybe this is why all other generations or past generations were a lot happier. People lived together a lot. Like in one house there was the gran, the mother, a few daughters or whatever. But she's like, maybe this is why there were also less depression, all of that. People just lived together. A
Together.
lot.
Malcolm Gladwell in Outliers, he speaks of the mystery of, is it Rosettenville or starts with an R, but it's the first or second chapter in that book. And he talks about how this doctor couldn't pin why these people don't struggle with heart disorders. And it was this Italian community that migrated to the States. And when they migrated to the States, you know, they were the only, you know, the culture was like they weren't getting heart diseases from this. And he looks at the food, it's pasta, it's rich in butter, it's rich in cheese. And he couldn't pin, like, in Rosettenville, the mystery of Rosettenville, something like that. And then only to find that these people lived with an Italian culture. So they would visit each other. They would walk down the road. So we underestimate the sense of like community and
Yes,
belonging
and
and,
what it
how
can
important
do.
it is
That's
for your
true.
longevity.
That's
you will
very
die
true.
younger when you don't have a community around you. You will. This is science. You will die younger when you don't have a community, and also when you're not being a caregiver.
And you know, speaking of caregiving, it's brought a new fear for me, death. Like,
you
who's
don't
my
wanna
baby
leave
gonna
your
be with?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Billy,
yeah.
I didn't care. Like, okay, I die and then.
And then, exactly.
But now there's someone like who actually would be affected. Everyone else would be affected by my death,
I must
but a lot
give
more.
my parents more responsibility over my life still. You guys are still responsible for me.
Oh,
So
I
that they
see what
stick
you
around.
mean.
You're actually making me
No,
realize.
don't worry. You'll give them a granddaughter. Don't worry. That'll be the responsibility.
Nah.
My mother
I also feel like they live
loves
longer.
looking after
Yeah.
my daughter. Like effortless.
Yes,
Effortless.
they love
love it.
Oh my gosh, they love
it.
them more than you. It's
Yeah.
so funny for me to see, and it's also beautiful at the same time.
I also, my mom doesn't have any grandkids, but like anybody, like her brother's baby, like she just wants to be somebody's grand. Like,
Yes.
please, somebody take me to be
Yes,
their grandmother.
yes,
I'm
yes.
always like, you look sad. Stop it.
Yeah, that'll make them live longer. Trust
Nay,
me.
a
Trust me.
grandchild.
Yes, yes.
Sure. Guys, this has been a lovely chat, and I think anybody who's a new parent can definitely relate to this conversation. And beyond just being a new parent, I think anybody who's a parent and anybody who's experiencing relationship, like dynamic and shared responsibility over anything, be it maybe paying for a house. Your house could be your baby, taking care of a pet or whatever, I think could relate to this conversation because, like you're saying, it's never balanced, but it can be equal. Or it's never equal, but it can be balanced.
Look, it depends on how you look at equality, right? Are you trying to look at a ton of bricks versus a ton of bricks, or a ton of feathers versus a ton of bricks? It's still a ton, right? Sure. Yeah, you'll never get the measurement accurate, right? It's like those women who make fat cook. Like, they know the measurement. They never get it exact every time, but the magwinyas
they
taste
can eyeball it,
the same.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think relationships are a huge eyeballing. Like, you literally have to constantly be monitoring. Because for me, the disposition I have is I need to constantly be, and this is obviously like with reason. I do this with reason. And I don't always get it perfect, but I'm always trying to figure out how I can make life easier for my partner. Like, the more I can make life easier for her.
Give Udizeva award. Give Udizeva award.
That's just the secret.
Because as you were talking, in my heart I was saying, but you would need to be with somebody who's willing to love you as much as they love themselves. Because that's really what it is.
Yes.
To see me as somebody who needs help as much as you do.
Exactly.
As somebody who needs a break as much as you do. To be able to, and guys, we underestimate how selfish humans can be.
Yes.
And how they can literally just look at their own needs. Like, surely I'm going through a lot with you having this baby. That is our baby,
Yes.
And we underestimate what it is for somebody to literally be able to think outside of themselves and say, actually, what is Given going through? What is Ness going through? What's the other person going through? And how can I love them through this experience, and how can I make the experience easier for them in as much as I am also going through something, and then trust that Ness also has. I've mentioned your partner's name sometimes. I don't know if it was a secret.
No, it definitely
Ness,
isn't
I'm
a
so
secret.
sorry.
If you wanted it to be a secret,
to say a secret as Given's partner, I'm so sorry, girl. So, and just like Ness also looking out for you, and like you're saying, and maybe sometimes your consolation won't come from Ness, but it will come from somebody else.
But that takes
else.
a lot of emotional intelligence.
Yes, it does. It does. Oh, it does. It does. Especially, like, I think even with me, I often like to take on the burden of fixing the people close to me, which isn't. You're not always going to be everything to everyone. You can't be the doctor. Sometimes you need to take the person you love to the doctor. You're not a doctor. You know? Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Something else, I'm sorry, we need to talk about eventually is exceptionalism of breastfeeding. Like, there's a community in parenting where they think breastfeeding is the only way. Like, as if,
let's get into it now.
As if, like what I believe in, I breastfeed, like I co-feed. What is that? Combined feeding, breastfeeding and formula. My supply is not enough on its own. And there's a community that believes breastfeeding is the only way. And what I say is that a fed baby is the best baby. As long as that baby is fed, that's it. And we also don't know why someone's not breastfeeding. Could be supply issues, could be health issues.
The
There
baby could be allergic to your milk.
Exactly, like there's so many
but
things.
okay, but according to my understanding, I'm not a mom or a parent, but according to my understanding, on a science level, have you researched what the best option is? I know that
No, breastfeeding
Breast
is the
milk
best.
is
And
by
then-
far
number
better
2
option.
is
Yes.
formula. The combination is 3. Isn't that the case? So why don't you just go straight for formula?
No. Combination is actually
Is
good.
okay
better than-
as long
It's
as
two.
the baby look good. Breast milk is so good that the pediatrician was like, as long as she's getting some breast milk, that's okay. But it's the
Okay.
way
Yeah,
to
you
go.
definitely. It's better to have breast milk than
Then
not.
none
Than
at
not.
all.
Yeah, than none
Yes.
at all. Unless, because formula babies tend to prefer it because it's a bit sweeter.
And it's
Okay,
the
okay.
bottle is faster. There's so many
Yeah,
benefits to
yeah,
it. They just
yeah.
like it more.
Okay.
So
But wait. Last one. Can I just point on? Can I ask you guys a question on people's advice? Has it become a bit overwhelming? Because I'm assuming I know what it is when, like, let's say you're struggling with breast milk. In what rooibos? It's because how kopansi the
Yeah. It's-
and how baile. You know those type of.
it's
Are you getting a
there-
lot of that?
I get a lot of that, but because of my personality, I don't care.
Oh, is
You
it?
know, so it's like I get it, but it goes out.
Because
Like
most of my new parents friends have said that's been the biggest struggle. Just so many voices. Everybody wants to tell you how to do it.
for me, I've shut down so much. Like as long as my approach to motherhood is my baby alive and healthy.
Do you know what has worked for my partner? Champagne. Like breast milk is like champagne and wine. Like we were chilling at a
Google
we were
scholar,
chilling.
please. I don't trust.
Like
this
I'm being
advice.
for real. Like in fact,
My friend-
we had a nurse
Milk
advise.
stout.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
My friend.
Yeah, like there's a number of things that actually do work. Some will work more on some women than others.
Yes.
I think what you're getting at is the being bombarded. Right, not
Yes.
necessarily the advice itself.
Yes,
The being bombarded.
Yeah.
Because this one did this and it
Yes,
worked
and
for
you're
them.
doing it incorrectly.
This, exactly.
Yes.
That can be a very difficult
Yeah,
thing to
exactly.
hear when I'm trying my best.
Here's another. First thing I thought when she asked this question is, if my partner didn't express so that I have bottles in the fridge, I wouldn't be able to help at night and she wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yes.
Because she'd literally have no reason to wake up.
Exactly.
Like, in fact, she just didn't want to. She could go sleep in a separate room. Because I'd literally, the moment I hear, in fact, I had an alarm. I'm up, right, ready to change the nappy. So she could literally sleep throughout the night.
And there's actually women who genuinely stop breastfeeding just for their mental health because
exactly.
of exactly that. It's draining to breastfeed. Like even the pumping and the power pumping. There's so many things to breastfeeding. So I found that there's women who say, in a group, maybe someone is saying my child is on formula water. Why is their baby on formula? Like it's an attack and it's judgment and it's so instead of that baby is being fed, that's it. That's what's important. You know, you find that there's so much judgment to maybe the fact that you are not breastfeeding when we don't know the reasons.
And I mean, I can imagine that there's many layers to that. There'll be a time where you're giving her purity instead of making home cooked
Exactly.
vegetables that are pressed and steamed.
Exactly.
And
When they start solids,
when
yeah.
they start solids, there
Yeah.
will always be judgment as to how you're raising your child. And I
Exactly.
think that can be another layer that is so exhausting.
But like the whole breastfeeding for me is a conversation. As much as I do breastfeed a bit, but I feel like it's exhausting. Like mothers want to breastfeed. If they are not, it's either they have to go to work quickly, or I find that for us, pumping is not a big thing in our community as Black people. I find that pumping and storing and stashing is not a big thing. And I was actually thinking, if you're building your stash for breast milk, and there's load shedding as well, and there's so many factors to like just deciding to breastfeed or
Oh,
not.
that's a real one. Hey?
Exactly, like your
Load
breast
shedding
milk.
is a real one.
Yeah, your
Like a
breast
real
milk gets
one.
destroyed if
Oh,
you're
is it?
stashing it
Eh.
and your electricity goes out. Your baby can't have that.
There's literally the stashing it problem, and then there's also the problem of warming it up.
Yes.
That becomes a real problem when you're in
Wanna
load
have
shedding.
the ice slowly.
Yeah, and when they say I want it now,
Yes.
I want it now.
Does ESCOM know that they're putting us through so much?
So that conversation for me has become like it's exhausting because for me as a mother, it's like my approach to motherhood is my baby alive?
And I'm just trying so hard. Cut me some slack.
Exactly.
Give me a
Like,
break.
is my baby
I'm actually
alive
going
and
through
thriving?
the most,
That's
yeah.
okay. Can we get through this? But there's so many things that you get judgment on as a mother. Ooh, it's exhausting. But like I've said, for me, it's just a conversation for other mothers. Personally, I don't care about anyone's opinion.
Yeah.
I've been able to shut down even those drinks that for me it's like, no, I just want this baby to be alive. That's it.
I've seen new moms around me that just even pregnant women get bombarded with so much advice. And I think that can be quite exhausting because everyone has something.
You bring me to something that I enjoyed about hiding my pregnancy. There was no one who had anything to say. Like the minute one colleague, my closest colleague, knew, she's like, "Why are you having coffee?" And I'm like, "You see,
Society needs to readjust itself, because if we all had an understanding of parenthood holistic, like understand that there's a woman out there who I work for a company that allows for not men, women, and if you do the 3 months, it's unpaid. You understand that if you choose to do the 3 months, it's unpaid. So you can think, oh no, I'll breastfeed for the first 3 months, but if now work is saying it's unpaid, now you have to be home breastfeeding a child and worrying about how are your bills going to get paid. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason that now I'm speaking now holistically in the sense that need, you might not know that that's the situation that the person who's not breastfeeding is going through, right? Is going through at the time. And this is not me saying that's the only time a woman should be breastfeeding. There are many different reasons to breastfeed or not to breastfeed. In fact, I found out, you find a lot of things out when you are about to give birth. Like I actually found out that there is a lot of research behind this, how big or small your boobs are, the less or more milk you are going to produce. Women with less boobs actually tend to produce more. They end up donating. That's how much they have. You understand? So
Beak up.
And I'm on the bigger side, and my supply is low. So
you understand what I mean?
True.
So we can't ignore that biology. Like this is not.
And my baby will like suck and get irritated because there's not a lot coming. So I just suck just so because it is the preferred method so that she's a bit regular. It has less complications, breast milk. So the little that she gets, I'm like, Bona, I've been here the whole day. I'm not leaking. Other women would be leaking.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I can go a whole day. I'll leak at night because my supply is quite low.
Okay.
Yeah. So people, no comments saying I must drink what, please.
But Bonga, has this had an influence on your self-esteem regarding being a mom?
Not at all, because like I said, my approach. But I guess my irritation has a bit to do with that. Like I'm trying my best. Don't make me feel bad for not having getting breast milk enough. And also, I find that it's better for my mental health as well. Like not having to pump, because even pumping is irritating. You're sitting there, this thing is pumping. You're not doing anything. The pump is not a lot. It's like 30 mils. That's not enough to feed my baby. So it's like even for your wellness, it's a bit better in terms of here's formula, quick, blah blah blah. But breast milk is better though at night. You're just like boob.
Done.
You're done.
Yeah.
You don't have
and
to
it
make
also helps
any
a lot with
contact.
weight loss. That one is also scientific because you're burning more energy.
Exactly. You burn a lot of energy breastfeeding.
Hey, that baby better suck. I need the weight loss.
So I'm irritated by that judgment.
Weight loss.
Hey.
Takes away the baby weight, and it's true, Shem. It's true. But I'm just angry because I'm a progressive person. I'm just angry for the mother that's affected by that. That's how I feel so strongly about it, because there's a mother who's not like me.
Yes.
Who's
affected
by
feeling like my motherhood is minimized because I'm struggling to express more.
When really, if that baby's alive, you're doing your best.
Sure.
That's it.
Hey. Guys, I tried to end this conversation, I'm sure 15 minutes ago.
Another thing where
There's just so much.
so much.
It's something that couldn't have been done in half an hour.
Is it the navel spono?
Yes.
So you have to tie the navel, blah blah blah, so that it's not huge. Blah. Traditionally, not really. Doctors don't say that.
Not yours, the babies.
The babies,
yes.
So, and then obviously sometimes you do it, sometimes I don't do it. And then I'm like, and I just want this baby to live. I will tie that navel when I can.
Exactly.
So for me, my approach has been simple as everything.
That's what I was asking you though, about the traditional little, bomme telling you to do it this way, and then I love my aunt. I don't know what advice she's giving you, but I'm talking about everybody else.
No.
My mom being one of your aunts. No, Bonga, you're supposed to do this. And
You know what?
and
You
then another
actually,
aunt.
your mother's advice one time when we were stuck, she was just like, doctor, mess with newborns, young dong what,
Yes, yeah, stick to the
So
doctor's
I'm just
advice.
surrounded by very like chilled
that's nice.
mothers, you know.
Oh, that's nice, because
I think it's also
moms
has
can make it, or not moms, but women can make the
Yes.
experience difficult.
I think it's also because of which people I allow into my lives, into our lives. Like it's my mother, and my mother is just like I've made my mother understand my approach. Is she alive? Is she healthy? That's it. Like I'm not gonna. I feel so overwhelmed. I don't want to overwhelm myself with every other thing. So I will tie that navel when I have the energy, but when I don't, it won't be
I
tied.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Last one. Hey guys, I'm so sorry to drag this on. But Bonga, I know that you had like a post partum complications. Just walk us through what happened. How did it go?
Kids were ICU.
What happened?
What happened? Oh, so they tell you when they discharge you. I was in hospital with the baby. Everything went well. They tell you when they discharge you, because it was a C-section. That's another thing. Oh,
Yo.
C-section versus natural. Oh my God, guys, a baby was born.
We move.
We move. So C-section, they tell you if your breathing is weird, come back. And I can't remember the other thing. So I was discharged after about maybe 3 to 4 days. Then we sleep one night. The next day, I'm like,
My breathing is odd.
yes, I feel like there's something wrong. So I'm like, just to be on the safe side, let me just go. I go, my breathing gets worse. Ibile, my boyfriend is like, Patung, just say you want McDonald's. We don't have to go to Vereeniging just for to come back and be told there's nothing. Only to find out they suspect there's clots in my lungs. So they needed to dissolve those clots. It's a known complication by a C-section. So I was in ICU for like 5 days. They were breaking down the clots, doing tests. So it's something that happens to a lot of women. And I'm just glad I was in a hospital that takes me seriously. That took me seriously, because a lot of black women get, what is this, dismissed.
Yes.
When they feel stuff. You're just panicking. You're just what. But luckily...
And luckily that you're just somebody who's very attentive.
Yes.
You are a very attentive human to your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I listened to my body. I was like, if I go there and there's nothing, that's
fine.
perfect.
But
there was something. I
Like in the
couldn't
ICU,
breathe. Like in the ICU, kilo oxygen.
And you see, caregivers
Imagine.
survive, baby. I believe this theory. Caregivers
Yeah,
says, I need to get back to my
yeah,
baby.
yeah.
I need to go take care of my baby. But what was that experience like, knowing that you've left your baby at home with your mom?
Because it was with my mother, I was fine. I was fine. I was okay. I cried because I was scared about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was okay.
So, even when I heard it, I got nervous. I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. No, guys, childbirth is not child's play.
I've also learned over the past month how, I remember I even said it to my mom, something happened, and then I said, Mommy, was this birth thing is like the fine line between life and death? And she said, of course.
Yeah.
She said, in the moment you know it. You know that here I'm seeing a white light. And it's either I'm going to walk towards it or I'm going to try to push this baby out and we go back down to earth. She was like, it's that fine. You can feel that I could die from this experience. Okay, that's it. The show is over, guys. Continue to like, share, and subscribe. If you're a new mom or a new dad, let us know what your experience is. Let us know how you've shared the load with your partner. These are all things we want to know. Let's try to make being a new parent's life easier and simpler. If you're an old parent and you're saying, hey, you guys are doing it wrong, here's my advice, we want to hear from you. Continue to comment. Let us know, how is it supposed to be done? What do you think? Without making us feel like nonsense. We already discussed that part. In a way that is loving and affirming. That's what we're building here, a community that is loving and affirming. But once again, thank you so much for being part of the TCC family. We love you guys so much. Goodbye and God bless.